Hello, 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 amigas out there in the world. Welcome to Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast. And as always, I have some badass Latinas as guests. And this one, okay, you're in for a wonderful treat. I adore this woman. Her name is Angie Correa. And Angie is not only this badass Latina, she is an executive coach. And you know who she coaches? Powerhouse women. Of course she does. So I'm so happy to see her here, be with us. And I want her to tell you everything about her because you're going to adore just as much as I adore her. So Angie, welcome, my love, to Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You are amazing. And I love this title. It's like, yes. Yes. When people ask me what to do, I'm like, handle it.
Handle it.
Your shit.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's like, I always felt that it was super important for us to say those words because, you know, as Latinas, we kind of have to shy away and go with the mainstream.
Be a good little girl.
Little girl. And I'm like, fuck that.
She's going all out today. All
All
out.
out. I'm going in with a fight. But I'm so excited to have you here. And I met you a year ago, and who knew how fast time would be, that we would be in COVID times. Like that, it was not even like within our future. Like we were planning 2020, like, oh my God, the stars are aligned. We are out there speaking, handling our shit. And then this stuff happens. But girl, I know you're an executive powerhouse. So I know that you are handling it really well during this pandemic. So I want our amigas to find out who you are, where you came from, and why is it that you are handling your shit? Because I know you're not from LA. So girl, tell us where you're from.
Yeah. So, oh my God, you're amazing. Thank you so much. So I moved from New York City. I was born and raised in the Bronx, single mom in a 5th-story walk-up, and lived in Manhattan most of my adult life, and moved to LA about 7 years ago. I lived in Santa Monica by the beach. It was like everything I ever wanted. And when I moved, I was working in corporate America still, and companies, you know, I have come out of the digital media space, and I was working for a Spanish language news and entertainment website, and they moved me out and they paid for everything. And a year later, they closed their office. And I was like, okay, what do I do now? So then I got another consulting job. And then 6 months after that, it was like, nope, that's it. And it was really like, ultimately, I felt like it was what was in it for me, because all along for the last probably 10 years, I have been wanting to do my own thing. I've been wanting to be my own boss. I've been wanting to utilize my experiences to create a life of freedom, but that was also supporting other women in achieving the things that they wanted to achieve in their lives. And for whatever reason, like I remember that when that consulting gig ended, I got on a plane the next day, went to Cabo for a week, chilled out on the beach, and was like, all right, this is it. I'm doing it. I'm never going back to corporate after this.
Ooh. Do you remember exactly the point where you said, like, I'm done?
The minute they said that they were eliminating that spot, like I was, you know, in a high level executive position. I was the only Latina. I was the only Latina in a high level executive position at that particular company. I was the only woman at the executive table, at the executive meetings. And you know, it didn't really surprise me, like of all the things, like I was kind of the liaison between all the different departments for what they were doing to go out into the world to reach the US Hispanic population. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're eliminating the one person that's an expert in this space, not only by birth, but by culture and by experience and by career. Okay, bye. Like I just knew at that moment, it was like, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't going to change.
Right.
And so I couldn't change a table full of men's experience of me. And so I had to go change the women, not change them, but elevate them, right? Because I'm not here to change anybody. I'm here to open up and create access, right? To your badassness, you know?
Badass. So tell us, how do you create access for women?
Yeah, I mean, I think here's the thing. I think one of the things that I think culturally, and you touched on this a little bit earlier, is, we're taught certain things. In Latinas as a culture, we're taught certain things. Like we're raised by such powerful women, but those same powerful women are telling us to be calladitas, good little girls, like, be thankful for what you have, don't want too much, like all this stuff. And I'm here to just like shatter that right now and be like, no. And because I wasn't even born that way, so that thought process didn't even work for me. Like I just posted some baby pictures, like young baby, not baby, but like 3-4 years old pictures of me like standing on my great grandparents' balcony, and you could see it even in those pictures that like there was nothing that was going to really hold me back.
Yeah.
And I was I was a good child, but at the same time it was like I would always go against the status quo, and it's like I didn't reach the levels of success that I did by being calladita.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
Right.
so I basically walk through a process with my clients that's really looking at what, like reverse engineering what they ultimately want for themselves. Because I think what ends up happening also is that we're also trained and taught by our lineage, by our families, by our grandmothers, by our tias to, do for everybody else, like put yourself last.
Right.
Right. And here I'm saying, no, let's reverse engineer. What do you want? And I literally won't work with you until you get really say the thing that's completely crazy, audacious, loquita, and be like, well, actually, what I really want to do is go and travel around the world and like not even have an apartment and, do my eat, pray, love story, like whatever that looks like.
Right.
Right. I'm actually about to embark in that for the second time. And people think I'm crazy, but at the same time, it's like, it's life. Like we get to design it. And so let's take that. Now, the next phase from that is like, once you design and once you decide, like, what do you actually want? Then we have to really work on the belief structure.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yes.
then it's like, oh, well, it's just a dream.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
well, it's not a dream. It's actually, it's in you. So if you didn't really want that, you wouldn't even say it. So we get to make it a reality. If
Right.
people really truly think that they can't attain the things that they have attained, meanwhile, I'm like, you've done a lot of badass shit in your life. Like you can do anything you want.
Right. Right.
And then once we get that belief kind of out of the way, we get some proof, some quick proof,
Yeah.
right? Whatever that looks like, whether it's that they need to make an extra $5, $10, $15,000, they apply for a job in a different state, they, file for that divorce that they haven't filed for in such a long time because of the fears that they think whatever's going to happen, like all these little things are in their life. And then as far as their career, it's really like, okay, start asking for what you want.
Yeah.
In a way that is powerful, and you're taking a stand for yourself, but also makes them believe that it's their idea. Right? There's a way that you can really have that dialogue
Right.
that everybody wins, no
Yeah.
matter what's happening, so that you can prosper where you're planted. Your energy shifts, you're creating higher production for whatever that role is that you have, and then you can leave on a high note, because then we create an exit strategy.
Okay. So where
Right?
do I sign up?
It's amazing.
I want all that. I want all that. Where do I
Yeah.
sign up?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a lot of women that you help that want that,
Well,
but
yeah.
they just don't know where to even begin.
Exactly. And the thing is that right now, I mean, so I follow obviously the trends of like, companies and layoffs. And now it's like, there's no trend because it's being created as we speak because of COVID and everything that's happening. And I'm like, I predicted in the middle of August that layoffs and more layoffs and furloughs from big, big companies, right? From the top, Fortune 500, Fortune 100, we're going to start in October. And people were like, no, 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 they always do November. It's fiscal, it's this, it's that. And I was like, no, I'm telling you, October is the month. October is going to be when people. And so this is happening
Yeah.
at an exponential rate. And so you have people that, like companies, like major conglomerates that are pulling out, 20, 30, 40% of their workforce. But then when you look at that percentage, the biggest part of that are mid to senior level women. And then those women are of color.
Oh my God.
Mhm.
Wow.
Now, I don't have like, so this is coming from, by the way, and I just want to preface this because I don't want anybody to think, where are those statistics? It's coming from the conversations that I'm having because I am still tapped into many of the companies and clients that I've worked with over the last 20 years of my corporate career.
Right.
Right. So advertising agencies, publishers, big brands, like all that stuff that they're calling me on a daily basis. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So it's like, now we have to take what I would have done with you for an exit strategy, right, to plan that out. And there's the people who are still there now being given 3 times the amount of work to complete, right? They don't want that either. But like the women who have been furloughed and laid off after 25 years at a major company, it's like, okay, so now instead of an exit strategy, we have to do an actual like business strategy based on their skill set, based on their knowledge, based on their greatness, and then monetize that today.
Yes.
And flip that switch and open up the other opportunities for different streams of income. Because that's my end all goal, is to empower you enough to have enough money in the bank so that you can be your own capital investor and F everybody else.
Oh, sign me up for that, please. Can I be on your list? Oh my God. So yes, I say yes to all that. The thing that, because of your education and your knowledge in the corporate world, you have this infinite value that women are now finally seeking and saying like, wait a minute, oh my God, I had no idea. I thought this was going to be my forever job.
Yeah.
And now you find them being laid off.
Yeah.
And they have someone like you to help them through that. So what would be the first thing that you guide them through?
So you know what? I think the first thing that I ultimately guide people through, because obviously I position myself as a career coach and a corporate executive coach, right? And cash strategist. Like right now, my cash strategy, part of it is the bigger piece of the business. But really the first thing that I do with everybody is create the awareness that we are not compartmentalized beings. Right? We're not compartmentalized beings. Just because you're coming to me for career doesn't mean that we're not going to talk about every aspect of your life, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if this is going on in your work life, right, it's going to disrupt everything else in your life. So it goes back to the question of, what do you ultimately want? What do you want your life to look like when you wake up in the morning on your perfect day?
Yes.
On your perfect day. Because here's the thing, I am driven, I am a workaholic, I love brainstorming, I love, being in community, I love teaching, I love training, I love speaking, but I can do that from anywhere in the world now.
Yes. Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. I don't have to do it from, I don't have to do it from a board.
Laptop life.
Yeah. And the thing is that I think not only is it a laptop life, and people think about it and they're like, oh, they think of like that 20-year-old nomadic, girl in a thong bikini, but I'm 50 years old. I'm 50 years old, and this is the second time around that I'm about to go do this. In terms of the first time, I remember taking a hiatus between 2 big companies that I worked for. I took a year off to travel around the world and whatever, and that was in my late 30s, early 40s. This time, I'm truly becoming the laptop lifestyle entrepreneur that's nomadic, that will be able to be in the world and then just have the experiences, and some people will be like, well, I don't I have kids, I have this, I have that. It's like, what I'm doing doesn't mean that that's what you have to do, but whatever it is that you really truly want, we can create it.
Right.
We can create it.
Oh my God. So this nomadic lifestyle, I kind of am into that. I'm digging that. So this is the second time. So please discuss, like, what are the plans?
Yeah. So, you know what, like the last time I did it, I actually wasn't like I chose not to work the last time. I chose to fully travel. And that was amazing, because I paid myself, I created a plan that paid myself a salary and then gave me a travel allowance. And so I chose not to, right? This time around, I have several different places that are safe to travel to, that I know people in, that I won't be alone, that I can stay in for a month at a time. So my goal is 30-day periods, if not more, 30 to 45-day periods in one place. Like I'm fully integrated. And so you know, I have a bunch of different places on the list. I have a bunch of different places that are safe to travel to. I have a bunch of different places that have people in it. And once I get my passport renewed and it comes back to me, then I'll be like, okay, this is a solid plan. No,
Oh my God.
no, I was literally ready to leave in November, and I looked at my passport and I'm like, dang it, it's
I know.
expired. And so I did an expedited service, but I literally have started planting seeds. Like I started thinking, and here's a funny thing. You want to hear the funny thing?
Sure, please.
I shared it with my mom a couple weeks ago, and she's like, "Ay, Angie, you know, like moms, I don't know, irresponsable." You know, she thinks it's irresponsible, and she's like, "But you know what? You were always this way." She's like, "You were born to be a traveler," and so that for me, and I don't have, I wasn't blessed with children, but I have lots of nieces and nephews and friends' kids and whatever. And I'm like, look at your kids right now. Like, go and turn around, look at your kids right now, and think about when they were born, what did you used to say? You know, 5 years old, 10 years old, 15, however old they are. Look at them and say, wow, because that's going to ultimately be like what they want to do later. And then think about it. I just did a post today, actually. I was like, what did you want to be when you were a kid? What did you want to be when you grew up? Of course, I wanted to be a pilot.
Ah.
I wanted to be a
Wanted to
pilot. I
travel.
wanted to travel. I wanted to do all those things. It was like, I would wake up in the morning and be like, Mom, where are we going today? She's like, to school. I'm like, no. Where in the world are we going today? And my parents weren't world travelers. They didn't even have passports. So where did I get that from?
Huh.
I was literally born with the travel bug.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I cannot be. And I threatened my family. Like, my mom wanted to do a quinceañera and a sweet 16. And I was like, I don't want that stuff. I don't want that. And she's like, well, what do you want? I was like, give me the money and let me go away. So I went for my sweet 16, I was in Spain, Italy, and Switzerland.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing to at that early age. Yes.
At that early age to just know and ask for that. And, you know, I think that all that to say is that everything that got us to where we are today
Yeah.
was a construct of who we should be.
Ooh, that is I mean, that's a download if I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's a construct of who we should be. And guess what? Not even coming from us. It's coming from everybody else. Our parents, our friends, the school, our teachers, the community. Like, oh my God, you know, like even when I moved from New York to LA, people were like, oh my God, I can't believe you're going over there. What did they say? They said something like cop out or something. I have no idea. And I was just like, are you kidding me? I'm going to live at the beach. Like, I think it's like
how
a
is
break.
that a cop out?
Right? Like something crazy. I was just like, but really, like when you think about it from that perspective, it's like, oh, okay, I can actually want certain things and do certain things, and it's because it's been embedded in me from conception.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would say, here's the thing, don't tell people. So I'm telling you guys this, but I'm barely telling my mom, my dad, my sister. Like, I'm not telling my immediate family. I love them to death. They're my biggest fans, but they're also my biggest naysayers with a lot of things.
Yes.
Don't
Yeah.
tell them. Don't
Yeah.
tell people.
Don't tell. Just do it.
Be really careful about who you tell your dreams to, because there are dream killers out there, and not because they're being malicious, and not because my mother doesn't love me or whatever, but because their own fears and their own dreams were like heightened, and their own dreams were never cultivated.
Right. They were
And
just
so it's like, you know, we can't teach an old dog new tricks, and I'm here to say, yes, you can. I'm 50 and I'm about to do it now. So
you know, you're in the second quadrant of life.
yeah.
Much.
Yeah.
I mean,
second half's the best half.
that's right. I'm there. I'm right there with you. I'm there with you. So I say that as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, my transition, like yes, I've been a lawyer now for 20 years, but like that role as a litigator has not resonated with me in years.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm done. I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I feel
And I bet if you deconstructed how you got to that point, it had nothing to do about you, your wants, your dreams, or your desires.
Right.
For the most part. If you really deconstructed it from, like, I mean, I would go as far back as you could possibly go. like really sit in that contemplation and examination of from ages 0 to, I'll give you until 10, 0 to 10, really like do the work, light a candle, get some incense, un poquito de agua florida, and spray yourself down and be like, who was I?
Palo santo.
Un palo santo.
No, it's true. I mean, for me, I wanted to be a fashion designer, and my dream got killed because.
And you're super cute. You are so super cute.
But it's just like the things that we tell ourselves, because I did tell myself, which of course the legal brain just squashed that creative. You don't know how to draw. You don't know how to sketch. Like who are you to think that you could be a fashion designer? Isn't that crazy? Like as a little girl, that's what I was thinking. But I was smart, and I did very well in school. So I'm like, what's the next best thing?
Yeah, the next best thing. Oh my God.
Which is not.
Like, okay.
And this
I want to make pretty dresses to like, I want to wear blue suits. I'm like, I don't understand. What? I don't understand.
There was a disconnect.
Yeah. So funny. I love it. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah.
It's like.
Well, it's like, here's the thing. I mean, my sister's a physical therapist, right? I worked in advertising my whole life. Right. So I was traveling, I was taking clients out, I was doing all this stuff. But in my family's eyes, she was a doctor. Right? Which, now you have to be a doctor of physical therapy. And so she was a doctor. She's the one that made it. And nothing against my sister or physical therapists and all the education that they have to actually go through and all the degrees and all the schooling and certifications and all that. But I was making 10 times the amount of money she was. And nobody knew what I did.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I sold air. I was in digital media before digital media was like a thing.
Right.
And so, I had commission checks that were people's annual salaries. So, so that leads me to the other aspect of like, so many people, women and women of color who have achieved a high level of success in their corporate construct, right, are now shackled to that's the way it has to be. And I don't have another 25 years to go from 0 to $500,000.
Wow.
And so we deconstruct that as well, because that's a belief system as well that I deconstruct, because there are ways and avenues and to generate multiple streams of income at a really high level with the right system and the right strategy. But the belief system will always get in the way if you're not open to that shift and that change. Because I'm working with people right now that, came from corporate, that started other ideas, platforms, services, and went from, last year doing $40,000 for the whole year and this year doing $400,000.
Ooh. Wow.
In 12 months.
With working with you.
Well, yeah, with working with me, with working in team, with working with different ideas, so, the opportunity is there for people who take it. And sometimes it's like, oh, they don't believe that, people are like, well, I don't believe that it's for me in that way. And so I think the biggest thing that I would say to anybody that's listening is to really think about, is what you're doing up until now working for you and working for the future you?
Right.
Is it going to get you there? And are you being complacent and settling and saying, oh, well, it's not going to happen anyway, because then it's like, then I don't want to work with you. But if you're like, there has to be a better way, and it might not look like what I want it to look like or what I expect it to look like, but I'm willing to take a shot.
Right.
If you're willing to take a shot and you're a go-getter and you're like, you know what? I've got a lot more to give to the world than what I've done so far. Let's go.
Oh my God. Amen. Totally. I am in agreement with you, because it's you have to really deconstruct the mindset, because we've been so programmed for so many years that it's really, it's challenging, but it can be done.
Oh yeah.
Deconstructed.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you're in this space, and that you are this like badass Latina who is helping other Latinas. Now, tell me, Are your clients all from the corporate side, or are they
So I have it's almost all corporate. It's women of color. So I work with mostly Latinas. I have Indian, I have African American, I have, pretty much have every culture, but the dominant culture is going to be the Latinas and African American. I have everything from mostly advertising executives. Then I have economics, someone that's high in economics, and military women that are amazing. So the military women are really fun because it's like, go do this. They're like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And what's really amazing is that usually, like, you think like, a woman, a Latina in the Air Force and the Marines, whatever, it's like, and they want something that's completely polar opposite to what they chose in that, when they chose that thing, right? The military path. And but there's something in their brain that can like click over much quicker because they take it. And I'm not here to give you orders or tell you what to do. I really want to open up that container with you. But in the way they take it is like, oh, it's like a directive. And so they do it. So they take they're fast action takers is basically what they are.
Right.
So they become really,
they've been trained to be that way.
Yeah, exactly.
You won't survive if you don't act.
Exactly. If you don't take action, then, I'm a super fast action taker, and it's intimidating to many people, but I'm like, it's also just me, right? Yeah. It's like, it's me. Nobody else is taking care of me. I don't have a sugar daddy. I don't have, I don't have, and also I don't have kids. My bunny rabbit passed away a couple months ago, I know my little guy. And so why wouldn't I take action? I'm not going to sit around and watch like The Bachelorette, no offense to them, but whatever.
Yeah. Entertainment is cool sometimes, but it's not going to pay the bills.
No. And I think we have a tremendous opportunity to, I think right now with everything that's going on and with the elections and the, president-elect and vice president-elect, it's kind of like, I know. And I think the yes is more so for women of color to truly step into, like, we still have work to do.
Oh yeah.
And if you do not consider yourself to be some sort of impact and influence in your community, in your families, like, I want to tell you right now, it's your responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how are we going to achieve a lot of the change that we want to see? You get to make a lot more money. I get to make a lot more money, because ultimately the pathway to the change that we want to create and the impact we want to make in other women's lives is going to be when we eliminate finances as a concern, and we have it in excess to be able to give back and do the things that we want to do. Right? So it's like, if I want to open a fund, start an organization, which is one of my plans, is to start an organization for women who are in their mid to senior level, who really do need a little extra support, whose husbands have walked out on them. These are all real stories.
Yeah.
This is exactly, and that they lost all their money in the stock market or whatever, because they didn't quite have the information that they needed. It's not that they're not smart. It's that, like, we're sometimes the first generation of even learning and having this kind of access. Right. And so my organization that I'm planning on opening, and I get to sit down and really like map that out, is really to like create the space financially, because I think that is where we create all the change. And that money is not a bad thing. Money gets to be talked about. We get to make a lot of it. Like, I know, and even to this day with all, I've bought my mom cars, I've taken them on vacations, I've done like, all this stuff. Y todavía they'll be like, ¿Qué tú te crees? You just need enough. I'm like, Mommy, enough for you and enough for me is two totally different things. So don't like, and it's just because she doesn't, you know what I mean? She knows up until a certain, you can only rise to that in which you've been exposed. Exactly. I have had a blessed life to have been exposed to an exorbitant amount of money that I never knew in my whole entire life that I could ever make. Because when I entered into the digital media space, Yahoo and AOL were the only two companies around in the digital media space. So can you imagine?
Wow.
I'm old. Well, now you have every person creating a digital media company. I started when it wasn't. So you can just imagine, like I couldn't take orders fast enough.
Huh. Wow.
Right. So
Right.
what do we do with that? Right. That time in my life, I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't know that I could create like whatever. I was, I mean, I would walk into Louis Vuitton and Prada and, buy a Mercedes, and I bought a house cash, and like great stuff, silly things, some of them silly, some of them crazy, some of them like outrageous, right? Took a year off. My point is that we get to now shift the paradigm of
Yes.
what this actually opens up for us, and that it's not just for people that are up here, that we get to take the lower middle class and bring them up, and the people who are doing well with their like 6 figures, it's like, okay, let's make it 7. Why not? Like if you're already at 6, it's just another 0.
Yes. I love that.
I
Sign
mean,
me up. Sign me up.
it's not that much more effort. It's not that much more effort. It's that mindset is not allowing you to surpass where you've been, because, oh, you're doing good.
Yeah.
Aren't you satisfied with that? We're taught to be satisfied down here.
Yeah.
You're just a little bit above. What would you be able to do up here, right? Way above.
Yes. Oh my God. Like internet level. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so true. Eliminate the finances as a concern. You said it so well. If we just said, what is what would your best self be without money? Like what don't even have a limitation on the money.
Mm-hmm.
What would that look like? It's
Mm-hmm.
like we don't dare to dream.
Mm-hmm.
We don't.
Mm-hmm.
We don't dare to dream.
Yep.
And if we do, we just right away, oh, but I can't see myself owning a beach house.
Yeah. And you can.
And you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but it all starts with that whole mindset shift, like you breaking those cultural barriers, that mindset of lack, scarcity.
Mm-hmm. And what is it supposed to look like?
Yes, yes.
How is it supposed to happen? Or the time in which it's supposed to take.
Mm-hmm.
So many things.
Demasiado.
But can be done. But can be done.
It can be done. Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I love this conversation. So as we transitioning here, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I always ask my guests, my badass Latina amigas, what can you tell amigas out there, 1 or 2 things how they can handle their shit? What will work? What is like that you must do this?
I just got chills because I'm in my next level up. I'm in my next level up. Like these last 48 hours, you got me on fire because I'm literally my next level up. So I'm constantly like, here, you must be aware, number 1, to handle your shit, you must always be growing.
Yes.
You must always be focused on growth.
Yeah.
You must always be focused on growth. And I think too many of us is like, oh, we hit that goal. Okay, we're good. And then we just like, nos ponemos para atrás, we hang out, whatever, right?
Yes.
No, you can't focus on just the goal. You have to focus on the growth, because if you're focused on the growth, the goals will keep on getting knocked off. You'll keep on doing them, right?
Yes.
So that's number 1. It's really that, like, because once you focus on the growth too, then everything shifts, everything changes.
Yes.
And then write it down. Write your big audacious thing down and put it where you can see it. It's so cliche. Everybody says it, but how many of you actually do it?
Right.
When I wrote down, let me tell you this is how fast it works. I said out loud at an event that I was at 10 years ago. No, let me see. I've been here almost 8 years. So yeah, about 9.5 years ago, I said at an event, somebody said, "What's your big dream?" And I just like, they walked up to me with a microphone in their hand, right in my face. And I was like,
no hiding.
And I'm super good impromptu. And I'm like, my dream is to move to a place that I can walk to the beach every day, and out my window are huge palm trees.
And you got
no lie. The next, like within that next 6 months, the conversations about moving here, like opened up. I was at my boss's house and she's like, the West Coast person resigned. We need somebody there. Do you know anybody? I was like, yeah, me. I was divorced. I didn't have kids. I'm like, me. 5 weeks later, I was here.
Nice.
5 weeks later, I was here.
Yeah.
So dream that big dream.
Dream it.
Put yourself in that house. If that's what you want, put yourself in that dream house.
Right.
Put yourself in that dream car. Put yourself in that country or that island, or, you know, people want, oh, I just want to try, you want to go stay in one of those, you know, bungalows over the beach that's in the, you know, the things in the Maldives. Do it. Imagine yourself. Put pictures all over your house.
Yes.
The more you're looking at it, and then you're seeing it and you're seeing it. Like, I laugh. My big thing is I want a Bentley convertible Continental.
And you can.
White on white. And I laugh because every time I leave my house, there's one driving by, there's one parked on the corner, and I laugh. I'm like, okay, mama. I was like, okay, I see you. Like, right, all my angels, God, like the universe, the light, they're all saying, here you go. Here, it's right here.
Yeah, it's there.
It's right there. So,
it's there. Hop on.
Yeah, when I get back to my nomadic lifestyle, I'll get
there
the car.
you go.
I'm gonna get the car before I go.
It's gonna be right in front of your place. It's
exactly
right in front of your place. Just
so I literally went to some friend's house the other day, and there was one parked right in front. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so funny.
Yeah. It's like, can it be even crazier? I mean, like,
wow. Yeah. I mean, and that's just little things. And I think, and it's also understanding that it's like, you know, it's like, and because you're still going to have the question. So it's got to be something that it's like, what is the significance? The significance for me isn't the fact that it's a $200,000 car. The significance for me is that I've created my empire, that if I can, I could, you know, if I could, I would. And if I didn't want to, that's okay too. And I could use that money in anything, because I probably wouldn't even get it. And I probably go and invest it in a school or invest it in something else, or I do both. Why not?
Why not? Why not?
Right?
Why
so
not?
It's options.
Yeah.
It's that we're opening up the option,
yes,
instead of closing the option and of no possibility. There's endless possibilities.
Endless possibilities. And, you know, stop putting contingencies on it.
Oof. Oof.
That's one of the things that I feel, at least one of my mantras is be contingent less.
Yeah.
Like, when I become this, then I can get that.
So I love that you just said that, because I have this thing and I always have to write it down, right? Because that methodology is that when we have it, right?
Yes.
Have, I always forget. It's like be, do, have, do, be. Have, do, be, right? So you're going to have the thing already. So then you can do more stuff, and then you'll be it.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Here I'm saying, just be it.
Be
happy, right? Then do the things that'll make you happy, right? That are in alignment with who you're being, and then you can have anything you want.
Yes, exactly. Precisely.
Right.
I completely agree.
And cherry on top is that it doesn't have to be this or that. It could be this and this.
Yes. Yes. That's one of the things that I feel like, you know, why is it that I have to have contingencies? Like, no, we don't need contingencies. Like, that's like a shackle.
Yeah.
A shackle for movement. And I feel that a person that has a growth mindset will reject that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Reject that. Absolutely.
I love your tip on growth. Yes. Yeah. And write it down. Yeah. Write it down. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, this is so amazing. I always say, I'm like, God, can I just have like a full on like day?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I do VIP days, so we bang it out. I love VIP days. VIP days, we are powering through. So, you know, I do those. So,
God, well, I love so much what you're doing, and that you're going to go and be a nomadic very soon. But before you become a nomadic, I'd love to see you, because we live in the same neighborhood, for crying out loud.
I know.
We got to make it happen.
Absolutely.
So amigas out there, oh my God, our beautiful friend Angie, follow her. You'll have her information in our show notes. She's an amazing woman. She not only a nomadic, but she is a badass. So follow her. Yep. We'll have everything on the show notes. And I can't wait to see you physically, which we need to do.
Yes.
Because I haven't seen you.
I know.
And our amigas out there, watch out.
Yes.
She's big. She's big time. And watch out, because guess what? You need to change your growth mindset. Mm-hmm. And beautiful tip. Thank you so much, Angie.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So glad to have you here.